What's up guys, it's David Kim here with Algos Explained, and we're doing another first look video from Code Wars. This one's level 8 and it is the 10th video on this level 8 playlist. I have level 5, 6, 7, and 8. I think level 5 I have only 5 videos just because those videos take longer to record just because as a first look video I am going through it for the first time of course, and thus being a harder question it takes longer time. This week I'm only going to post this one video. I usually post about 3 every Sunday, but this Sunday is Memorial Day weekend, and so I got some other stuff going on, and so I'm only bringing you guys one video, and I will be closing out this Code Wars series from the first look, and hopefully soon I'll be able to bring you guys some whiteboarding sessions, I guess, lessons or whatnot. That's kind of what I have planned for this channel. If all goes well, I also have some interviews lined up, so we'll see how those go too. And if good things happen, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, so let's get to this one. This one's called alternate casing, or alternate case, and this stuff right here. Alternate case, alternate case. Define two alternating case character in size such that each lowercase letter becomes uppercase and each uppercase letter becomes lowercase. For example, so pretty much if you're just flip-flopping lowercase and uppercase. Look, it looks like character source, hello world, character uppercase, two alternate casing. We just know that, okay, well, these examples kind of not in the JavaScript language. I see they're using like void and stuff, but we get the idea. If it looks like this, all lowercase, we change it to all uppercase, and whatever was uppercase now goes lowercase. Whatever was lowercase, we put it to uppercase. And so, I think this one's pretty simple. I'm pretty confident that we all get the idea of what's going on here. And so, oh, and check this out. We are not doing like a regular function. We are actually um, creating this method on the string prototype, and sort of the difference between those two things in JavaScript. Um, you can, if you do, okay, so I guess the best way to explain it is if you're creating a method on the string prototype, then you can literally create a string, and I'll do it over here. So here's an example of a method on the string prototype. You have a string hello dot to uppercase, and boom, it works because you're using the dot on a string, and that's prototyping it. How we usually create functions is pretty much like let two alternating case. We do something like this, and you might see like in this way to alternating case. You might also see it like this, and it'll take in a string here. This likewise will take in a string and pretty much have the body over here. And so these are just different ways. This is pretty much like the 6 way to do it. I enjoy doing it this way for a big part of my JavaScript life. I like to do things this way now. But this is different because the way you call these methods is you call it right on the string with the dot operator like this. And if we were to have written the function like this, then we would simply, the hello would be two alternating case. Pretty much the hello would be in there, right in there. So that would have worked if we had written out that function. Hopefully that was clear. String means, you see how we don't have an input here? That's because the input is pretty much on right there, just like how this is coming on right there. And so, let's do this on the string prototype like they want us to. Cool. So it looks like, actually I'm kind of hesitant on, I think we have to use this, but I'm not 100% confident, so let me try to create a little short example here, and we will do console.log this.to uppercase case and see if that is actually what indeed happens. Hello dot to alternating case. Okay, cool. So the this keyword that comes into play now. You might have heard about it. You might have not. But what this means is pretty much what we are currently talking about. So if we were doing this on the array prototype, then the this would be considered whatever we call the dot operator on. So we called this function on hello. Therefore, within this prototype function, this represents whatever we called it on. If we were doing array.prototype.whatever, and inside the method we used the this, it would refer to that array. And so the main idea for our purposes right now is that this is how we understand using how we're going to get the input. Remember how we had that other form of function, like function something here like this, and str there, right? And then so now str is our input. That's kind of how we might be used to seeing it. So here there is nothing. The input is taken from the keyword this. And so this, okay, well, so now we established that this is how we're going to touch the string that's being called. And so what is now our approach? Pretty much we need to flip every single letter, so we know that we need to at least go into every single letter, which means using some kind of loop, like a for loop, to touch upon every single letter in this string. And at that point, when we look at the letter, we just have to know, is this a lowercase letter? And if it is, then uppercase it. Is this an uppercase letter? If it is, then lowercase it. And so that's kind of our plan here. And at the end of it, we will just return the this, which represents the input that we mutated. And so the first part, we said we were going to use a for loop to take a look at every single letter. And so let's go ahead and write that. I equals 0, I is less than this dot length. And of course, and again, this represents what we're calling this to alternate case method on method function. Method is kind of like, to my knowledge, method is kind of when this, not this, a method is represented, it's like a function, but it's in a class. So you're going to hear me switching those around a lot. If you want to get technical, I'm pretty sure I misspoken those words a lot, but please forgive me. Okay, let's see. So we're looking at every single letter through this for loop, and now we just need to know, well, let's call it letter just to simplify things for us. This of I. And so now we need to know, is the letter uppercase or lowercase? And I think in a previous video we talked about ternary, and so I think we can use a ternary in this situation too. So we will just simply figure out, okay, the condition will be, is this a lowercase letter? And if it is, then if it is a lowercase letter, we'll uppercase it, and if that's false, then we'll lowercase it. Because a letter can only be two things, uppercase or lowercase, and therefore, yeah, pretty much. And if we run across a space, I know that if we do like a space dot to uppercase, nothing happens. It doesn't blow up on us, so we're good. And same thing for to lowercase. And so, okay, let's, how do we do this? We will do, we'll change the letter. So letter equals, and this is going to be letter dot, I don't think there is uppercase. Yeah, I don't think there is uppercase. But let's see. How do we know if it's an uppercase or a lowercase? We could simply create an array. Okay, well there's a couple of methods that we can take here, and I'm gonna do the simpler one. There is one way where we can use the I forget if it's called the binary code, something the case code. No, this is it. Like dot char at something like that. No, character code at. Yeah, check that out. That is the number that represents the A, and a Z is 122, and uppercase. I mean, these all have their own stuff, and so 90. So we can just simply say, is this character code less than this? And I think I'm going to do it this way. Actually, I was going to do it the array way, which is simply create an array of lowercase letters or uppercase letters, and just check is there an index of this current letter inside this array of all lowercase letters, and if it is, then it's a lowercase letter, and if it isn't in that array of all lowercase letters, then it's an uppercase. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just check, is this character code less than or equal to 90? Because all the lowercase looks like, well, lowercase starts at 97, and just to prove to you that A is 97 and B is 98, it just goes up like that. And so what we're going to do is letter dot char code at, and if that is less than or equal to, what was Z here? 90. So that means if it is uppercase, then letter dot to lowercase, because that means it was an uppercase. And I'm going to just bring that in over here, and we are going to do letter dot to uppercase, because if that was false, say this condition right here, remember the ternary has the condition on the left, the question mark, and then the true and the false, which are usually next to each other, but I just spaced it out like this, or I entered it. And so if this condition is true, that means it's an uppercase, so we're going to lowercase it. If it's false, then it's lowercase, so we want to, and then we want to go on the left side or the right side and uppercase it. And so letter will be the opposite of what it was, and it's not good enough to just leave letter at that. We need to we need to set this letter to whatever is at the this index of I. So after that, we return this, and that should be enough to kind of do the trick. Because if you want to go over this really quickly, we are creating a function on the string prototype called toAlternatingCase. Usually other methods on the string prototype are stuff like two uppercase, two lowercase. You could also do like split. You could do you can do split. You can use the for loops on it. I mean, okay, scratch the for loop. I think that's not part of it. But okay, so we did use the for loop, and now we're looking at every single letter done right here on line 3. And pretty much what's going to happen is we are going to check, is it an uppercase letter? If it is, lowercase it. If it's lowercase, we're going to uppercase it and set this of I back to letter. So let's go ahead and attempt this. Okay, it all failed. And so letter dot to uppercase. Why? Why don't they like this? Huh. Let's console log out what letter looks like. And so we do get letters, but to uppercase. Okay, we didn't capitalize that, so that was the issue there. Cool, so let's check this out. And cool, we passed 4, but we failed 694. And so expected this, instead got that. And why is that happening? Should work for fixed test provided in description. How about we go ahead and take this into our node environment and try it out. So if we are doing like a hello world dot to alternating case, is not a function. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Alternating case. We return string hello in the form of like some kind of array. What is this? Let's see the type of. So log type of that, and let's see what's going on here. Maybe I did that wrong. Type of. Nope, I think it's lowercase o. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. And we are getting an object. Okay. So, well, if we're getting an object, we know that this is what it looks like, string and the string here. So we can do this. Or maybe this is not even changing. You know what I think would be a better way to do it? Since this is messing it up for us, what we will do is, first of all, I'm gonna console log this out just to make sure we know what we're dealing with. We might be dealing with something that looks like this, so, and if that's the case, then we don't want that. And so, yes, we are dealing with something weird here. And so, but if we do, we know this is an object, so if we do string, what do we get? We get undefined, okay. How about that? Undefined. This. String hello. Dot string. I'm trying to see how we can tap into that actual input of this. Undefined. Because we don't want to, we're not even successfully doing this for loop, I think. Console.log. Let's see if we at least iterate through those multiple times. Looks like we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we do iterate through it the exact amount of times. Okay, so the issues we're dealing with right now is that we did console log out letter, and it was indeed the right letter. And so an easy fix, I guess, would be let's create another word here. And so that's an empty string. And what we'll do is we will plus equal to this letter. And so we'll attempt that. Oh wait, we're returning this still. I want to console log out letter or flipped. Console.log flipped. And I'm going to just return that because I'm pretty confident that this will work now. Perfect. And so we did console log out. I just want to see. Well, I guess the passing test kind of proves that we are indeed returning the right thing. And so our problem was we were trying to replace the words at that index, but although we can somehow iterate through through this for loop, when we did look at the true form of it, it was an object. And so, and I think that has something to do with everything is from the object prototype in JavaScript. You might want to look more into that you're on your own. But right here, so how we got around that is we were obviously not replacing this of I with these letters when we replaced it here previously. So what we did was we created another string that we would eventually return as our answer. And once we took the letter and flipped it, we just added it to this flipped. And so if it was an H, we capitalized it. If it was like a lowercase, We capitalized it. For the uppercase, we lowercased it. And so this all works. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, this was the last one. I'm going to be taking the weekend off, so hopefully I'll see you next week with some more cool videos. And if you enjoyed it, subscribe, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.